noticed a lot of this very almost like how fitness kind of took off and it became a thing where there's so much generic advice online about eating and fitness and all this stuff. But it didn't really get down to like the brass tacks of what kind of issues were or anything like that. It was just basically, a skin of what it actually should be. So I'm noticing a lot of psychological help out there. It's kind of taking that same trend. And I just kind of want, like, it got me thinking about human beings. If I look at you and you look at me, it's safe to say that if there was another human being on the planet that looked exactly like you, exactly, eye color, nose shape, voice, spoke like you, acted like you, everything, you would be shocked.
Well, I would say the world would be a better place.
Of course.
But I wouldn't be shocked.
So we're shocked that there isn't another human being that looks different than us. Why are we so shocked by that? If we think about it, human beings are the one animal that's extremely unique per human. And if you look at the animal kingdom, a squirrel's a squirrel, a bear's a bear, a dolphin's a dolphin, and they all act very consistently. We can predict almost movement by movement what they're going to do.
Even twins that are humans are really different.
They have differences, yeah. And they're more connected, I think, but they're still unique individually. And when you look at the animal kingdom, every squirrel almost is exactly the same. There's like 3 different colors of squirrels. There's black, brown, and gray. But they're all the exact same as far as like they go get nuts before winter, they pack them away, they do their thing. Bears, same thing. They hibernate every winter. Like they're very consistent and predictable movements. And that's the thing that separates us as from the animal kingdom as human beings is our ability and desire to be unique. And the difference is they're working on survival. So it's entirely instinct. They know I do this, this happens. And so I'm going to keep doing this. And that goes into they're raping, they're stealing, they're killing each other. I mean, if you really think of those power words, that's what's happening in the animal kingdom. You come into humans as a race, and I mean as a human race, not as a race as white, black, or brown, or yellow, or any other color. You think of it as entire human race. We're literally creating a world where we are not only denouncing, but we're punishing people for functioning by instinct. So what's happening is we've created this society that we're rewarded for our uniqueness, for fighting instinct, for going against instinct. And I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. That's what makes us great as humans. But why is it that every time we think of the human brain, it's like every single one is the same? It's like we're looking at this human and I can talk to this human and I'm going to get this response as if they're an animal, like a squirrel, or as if there's something. You cannot address every human the same way. You can't discuss things with them. You can't learn from them. You can't get a predetermined, predictable answer from them.
Can I give you an example to go on your point there? Grief.
Totally.
Some people grieve and they, quote, move on quick.
Yeah.
Some take some time. And we like to, act like there's a rule book. To be like, oh, at this time you should feel this. At this time you should do that. But it's such a unique thing to that person. There's no right. So it's like you go to, if you go to a funeral, the person that is crying is not more upset than the person who's silent.
Right.
So I'm using that as an example where you could all feel the same thing, but it's very difficult, you're right, to just say, here's one uniform thing to go across. Because humans are.
Well, you can't. And we constantly, it's funny because we reward uniqueness after the fact. Like Vincent van Gogh. You're a shit artist, you're terrible, you suck, you died. Oh my God, you're amazing. Because you were unique, you were different, you were weird, and we like that. We want to attach ourselves to that. But when you were alive, you get the shit kicked out of you all the time. And we like you said, you see someone at a funeral and you're instantly judging that person. Are they sad? Are they not sad? You see someone happy at their husband's funeral, or you see someone sad at their wife's funeral, you immediately kind of put them in a category as if they're in the animal kingdom. That's not a predictable human being. What makes us so incredible as human beings is that we are unique from one to the next. And the biggest regret that I have in my entire life is trying to change somebody. It's trying to talk to them and discuss things with them with the ideal that I could change their actions or change their responses to me. And it's fucking wild that is just the worst thing in the world that you can do.
People don't change. They are instinctively who they are.
We shouldn't want them to. That's the key, is that their uniqueness is what makes them exactly who they are, and we shouldn't desire a change
Correct.
from them. The only place that can come from, the brain is like a unique Rubik's Cube, that the only thing that has the answer to that Rubik's Cube is itself. It's a conundrum above all conundrums. The brain is the only thing that understands itself to the point where it can solve its own puzzle.
Maybe just appreciate people's differences. How about that? There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, and it's just whether you like them or whether you don't, whether they do what you wanted them to do or whether they don't, it doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. None of it matters.
Well, it's this feeling of everyone has to conform to something. Like somehow we get comfort in conforming.
Yeah, it's just it's an odd thing because again we celebrate uniqueness when it's way too late.
I think your other point in terms of the mental health stuff, everyone thinks they're an expert on everything. Okay, I get it. You want to post a video of how to make sugo or like a lasagna or whatever, that's fine, even if you're not a chef. If you want to post something of painting your house, reno, how to fix stuff, like, yes, I get it. There's things we could all do, but there's a line like what we've forgotten about is the people are professionals in their industry for a reason. And so it's like you could be a cook, you're not a chef. You could be good at health, you're not a doctor. Mental health should not be something where you're going to YouTube for.
Right.
Mental health and diagnosing it and getting actual help is not something that you just talk to your neighbor about. You want to get support, but I mean, let's just take it easy. That's not something that you're just going to get from an Instagram page. Like that is serious business.
And reading,
and we're watering it down if we're like thinking, like an inspirational quote on an IG page is going to have an impact on someone.
Well, and it's reading has been so overlooked recently in the last year or two because you can find the Coles note, you can find the footnote to almost anything online now. But when you read, something happens that your brain is forced to interpret words on the page. And when you process those words and when your brain takes it and it makes it what it needs to be. It's not someone just talking at you. It's not just even a podcast like where you're listening to someone talk. It's not just your brain is absorbing those words on the page and it's turning, there's no tone, there's no humanality to it. It's not someone projecting their personality on you. It's you taking those words and you formulating them as your brain needs to do.
It's the journey. You're going through stuff.
Right.
You're siphoning through stuff to get to the treasure.
Right.
Like,
and
you ever
needs
watch
to
a
happen.
movie that they're looking for some kind of treasure, and when they get there, there's a bit of a letdown because the most interesting part is how they found it.
It's the journey. Yeah. So we're missing the journey. A lot of people. So if you're young and you need help and you're just struggling, you feel depressed or unhappy or whatever, the more time that you spend reading and educating yourself and in your thoughts as far as trying to understand just the whole world, just embrace everything that you can come across, but try to do it through reading. That's going to help you the most.
And be careful whose advice you take. If you're going to take advice, you got to really stop and say, am I allowing myself, my body, my mind to follow this?
Well, it's like taking mental health advice from a fucking tile contractor. Like, But in all seriousness, no, I've struggled a lot in my life with feeling depressed. I'm not going to say that I'm a depressed person, but feeling depressed and feeling anxious and being stressed out. A lot of people go through different variances of that, but it's important to really to open your mind, but not necessarily to a bunch of junk. What's up, guys? Thanks for stopping in. I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. We had a little laughs, but we got it on a serious note. Just for all of anybody who thinks that they're struggling with mental health issues, please seek professional advice. Don't take our word for it. Don't take anybody's word for it that has a mic and a video camera. You really need to seek professional advice. Once again, thank you for stopping in. This has been the Towel Freak Podcast. This is your boy Clint. Like, subscribe, follow. Now it's time for me to get the fuck back